So now let's get into what's new in this release for Zoho One. And we have quite a bit that we are releasing. We have 3 new services, 3 updated services, 5 new applications, and all of this is packaged up in an entirely new experience. So there's quite a bit to get through here. We'll start with services. And as we've explained in the past, services are the result of the long-term R&D work that we do that become utilized across the operating system. In terms of what's been updated, analytics, search, and AI are what have received updates. So we'll talk about that first. In addition to that, we should also mention that these third-party services, or I'm sorry, these services that we've built out are compatible and they integrate with third-party tools as well. So for example, we have a directory service that we've built out that manages all of the permission structures across the entire operating system. That can be integrated with Active Directory. Obviously, a number of large organizations use AD and they like using it, or at least they're committed to using it. And they can do everything they want to do in AD, push all of that into the Zoho directory, and they never have to really worry about the Zoho side of things in that regards. So that's just one example of how these services can integrate with other third-party tools, which is very important. So there's been significant improvements to our services. We offer an out-of-the-box analytics where we are able to bring all of the data from all of the different apps that a customer is using and provide a number of out-of-the-box reports and dashboards. We now offer up to 1,500 of those out-of-the-box reports and dashboards, which really makes things a lot easier on the customer. Another thing that we've been doing to really simplify analytics for the customer and really simplify building reports for the end user is bringing in our NLP AI technology alongside analytics. So we've had a capability that I can demo here called Ask Zia for some time now. And basically what this looks like is basically just being able to ask the system a question or make a request. So this is something that we've had where you say, show me revenue, and then the total invoice amount appears. What we've done is we have brought this into a complete conversational interface. So now you can ask that same question, and of course you'll get the same answer. But because we're in this conversational interface, the context is already preserved and allows us to just drill in easier. So if we now want to say, okay, well, I have the total revenue, but I want to look at this by month, I can just ask for that by month and a report is generated. I can say, well, actually, I'd prefer to see this as a bar chart, and I can then tell the system that, and that gets created. But maybe, you know, looking at all these months is a bit too much to deal with. So we're going to say, let's look at this by quarter, and that gets generated there. Now, our AI is also integrated into this. So if we want to try to extract some insights from this graph, or this chart rather, we can hit the Zia Insights button, and Zia, the Zoho Intelligent Assistant, will automatically try to understand what we're seeing in the data and try to deliver those insights to us. Now, to add this report to an existing dashboard, it's just basically 2 clicks. If we want to change it in some way, we can get in there and edit that as well. So that's what we're doing on the conversational analytics side of things. In addition to the conversational analytics, we are also offering out-of-the-box forecasting. So this will also be available. We'll bring in the data and then do that automatic forecasting for the customer. Now, that covers 2 of the existing services that we've updated in terms of analytics and AI. Now we'll talk about enterprise search. We offer a unified, actionable enterprise search where a customer can, for example, put in an email address and then see all of the different places that appears across all of the different applications they use in the operating system. The really difficult thing about this is not so much the search, but it's actually understanding and respecting all of the various permission structures. So that way, If someone is a day one intern doing this search, they see something different from their manager, and their manager sees something different from the CEO of the company. So that is really what makes this so challenging, and it's taken us over 10 years to really get this working. What we're doing to enhance this capability is we're bringing in the AI NLP technology that we saw in the analytics example, and enabling that in search. So now you can ask the system for things like this: show me mails from the VP of sales, show me documents shared by my team. The system will understand that natural language request and then will show the results accordingly. Now, to do something like this is quite challenging, and it really requires understanding quite a bit of things here. We have to understand what documents are, and those have to be understood as resources, and those resources can be used in various ways, including these contextual actions like sharing. And when we look at a phrase like my team, there's a lot of stuff we have to understand there as well. We have to understand the organizational structure. We have to understand how the person making the request fits into that structure. And then we also have to understand the subjective terms that people will use and organizations as a whole will use when referring to things like teams. There might be a department, there might be a team, there might be unofficial teams, there might be teams within teams, there's temporary teams. There's a lot of different ways this can be communicated by an end user, and so we have to be able to understand what that means. Similarly, when we look at a request like showing tickets that have been assigned by a particular person, well, who is Scott? Scott could be any number of people in the system. We have customers, we have colleagues, we have partners. But even if we narrow this down to employees, well, there could be multiple Scotts in the same department, multiple Scotts in the same team. So how do we understand who Scott is that is being referred to here to be able to perform this request? So ultimately, it's a big challenge. And to tackle this challenge has required us introducing a brand new service. And this is a back-end service called WorkGraph. So this is getting into what's new here. So what WorkGraph is a back-end service that allows us to map out all of the connections that a user has across all these different entities. So for example, understanding the connections between a particular user and their various contacts, whether those are employees, customers, external reps outside of the organization, what have you. And ultimately, as we map that out, we're then able to understand the strength of the connections between a user and these different entities, which then allows us to have a better idea of who they're talking about or what documents they're referring to, etc. So to do this means, again, interactions with people. It means understanding the org structure. It means understanding a number of contexts that emerge. And it also means understanding interactions with resources. Right now, WorkGraph is really enabling the advancements that we're making in search, because search needs to understand so many different things to be able to work effectively. So that's right now where we're using WorkGraph, but there's a lot of different areas where we see potential that we'll continue to develop it as we move forward. So that was the first of the services. And as we've moved through analytics, AI, and search, and now WorkGraph, you can see how these services are unified in a way in which they work together to enable new advancements. We have two additional services that we are introducing. The first is called mobile app management. And this allows organizations to do remote provisioning and management of the devices of the mobile devices that they hand out. So this includes, mandating which applications are on the phone, security policies on the mobile device, when an operating system needs to be updated, things like that. This new capability is powered by an application that we have in our sister division called Manage Engine. Manage Engine services about 3/5 of the Fortune 500 doing IT software. And there's a product they offer called Mobile Device Management that's been sold to thousands of customers. So we're bringing in a subset of those features and baking it into Zoho One. And then we're providing an upgrade path as well to get the full service from Manage Engine baked into Zoho One as well. The last new service we have here is called Org Dictionary. And Org Dictionary is a really cool kind of simple quality of life update. We already offer an extensive, spelling and grammar check capability through Zia. And what we're doing now is offering this unified dictionary across all of the areas where someone will do any writing. And what's unique about this is that the dictionary will learn from individual organizations' existing business data. So for example, you've put all of your products and product codes and the various acronyms or whatever else might be related to products in the inventory application. All of that data is brought into the Org Dictionary. So now when people writing marketing copy or writing, and they're maybe using maybe made up words or complicated terms, it's understood, or not maybe complicated, but unique terms that would not normally be in the dictionary. They're understood to be related to the products as such. Similarly,
kind of a taxonomy for an organization.
Basically just being able to bring in all of the special terms that are used in organizations and being able to understand that. We can do the same thing with employee names, for example. All of the names that are in the HR system will get brought in as well. Now, this is going to be helpful just for removing unnecessarily squiggly lines when people are doing any writing, but it also then allows us to have a better contextual understanding of what different terms mean when we're building out these search capabilities. So for example, organizations always have these specific terms they use. In Zoho, we have a term called DRI, the directly responsible individual. It's a term you hear all the time internally. We don't really use the term project manager very often. So if I was going to be using that search and saying who is the DRI for something, the search would need to understand what I'm talking about to be able to show me the results. And that's something that the Org Dictionary will be able to help enable. So those are 3 new services that are in this release, and we'll now move into applications. As we mentioned before, Zoho One now has 45 applications, and it started with 30. So since 2017, we've added a lot of value across all these different business categories. With the pandemic, we're prioritizing a few categories, so we'll jump into that. First, around digital commerce. We have an e-commerce platform called Zoho Commerce, and that has been something we've been offering for a few years. We're now bringing that within Zoho One. Obviously, a number of businesses have had to turn to e-commerce, and brick and mortar has not been as effective, obviously, given the pandemic. So we think this is the right time to make that move. The next side of things is remote collaboration. Here we're introducing 3 new applications. The first one is called Lens, and Lens basically enables remote assistance. It reduces the need for on-site visits and also increases the quality of those visits as well. So for example, a technician is out to look at this Volkswagen motor here, and they bring out their phone, they open the Lens app, which uses their camera and takes a dynamic image of the engine that they're viewing. Someone back in the office can open this up and see that image being broadcasted through the phone, annotate, draw on top of it, talk to the person who's actually on site, and they can collaborate around that. Those annotations will then be put back on the screen using our augmented reality technology, which allows the technician to collaborate very closely with the person who is there not on site to get the job done. So we think this will be very cool. We can see a lot of our customers being able to utilize this, and it complements additional remote assistance applications.
Something they can use with their mobile camera, or do you need AR glasses and all, lenses and all?
You can use it on your mobile device. So yeah, pull out your iPhone and this will work.
Okay.
The second application that we are introducing is called Zoho Learn, and this is a learning management system. We're very excited to offer this because we already offer HR applications, collaboration applications, meeting applications, training applications. But what we've been missing is that place where knowledge can be centralized as that key, learning management system. And obviously, with the lack of in-person training that's been available, being able to do this digitally is very important for remote and hybrid work. So we're very excited to offer this. We think this is going to be something that many customers will enjoy as well. And the third and final application that we're introducing in this section is called Team Inbox. And this is a shared inbox for teams. So for teams that might use a shared alias, like maybe an events team or an AR or PR team or something like that, it allows them to use that shared alias without having to worry about all of the CCs that you have to create, all the duplicate responses, tracking everything down, making sure that everyone's seen a particular email and responded to it. It'll make this collaboration within email much more effective. And I'm very excited about this. I've personally dealt with this a number of times, and it's always very frustrating. So this will be a good addition. So with that, we now have over 20 productivity, collaboration, and communication apps within Zoho One, making remote work even more effective. The third category we have for new applications is around data cleanup. We're introducing an application called Data Prep, and this is something that will be added to or complement our existing BI tools that allows organizations to integrate, catalog, cleanse, enrich, prepare, and organize their data. We are very excited about this. It'll basically be a midway point for all of the different data that an organization is wanting to bring together and visualize. They bring all that data from Zoho applications, from third-party applications, from custom databases, from Excel, and they can then ensure the integrity of that data before they bring it into the BI system and attempt to visualize it. As we know, garbage in, garbage out. So this will hopefully, really help organizations clean up a lot of the data they're trying to work with. Oops. So that brings up, that's the end of the new applications. Those are the new applications that we are adding. Independent companies exist for each of these things. And again, we're really trying to stress that we want to add more value to Zoho One. And customers have noticed this. They really see it as a great value, and they see that this really is something that can run an entire business when you really compare all of the things it does with all of the applications that an organization might be using. This brings us now to the unified experience. And what we're doing on the experience side is we are introducing a unified user interface. This is something that customers have been asking for, and we're very excited to do it. This is just the first step for us. We have a lot more ideas and a lot more directions that we'll be taking this. But for now, the unified user interface gives everyone one place to do everything from. It has unified navigation for all of the applications that have been assigned to individual users. There's a unified calendar, unified dashboards with widgets. These widgets can be personalized. And there's also unified configuration. Admins are really going to appreciate this, because up until this point, if you wanted to enable, say, the CRM and books integration, which is pretty easy to do and is just some minor configuration, you'd have to be in two different applications, looking two different setup screens, which presented some minor challenges. So now all of this is going to be available from one screen with a standard way of doing it, and it'll really make everything much more cohesive. In addition to that, being able to launch all your Zoho applications, you'll also be able to launch third-party applications from this as well. So say you are actually using an application from Salesforce, we can integrate the Salesforce single sign-on into the Zoho single sign-on, and then you can launch that Salesforce application right from Zoho One. So in summary, with all of these updates that we have, we are unifying and improving each layer of the stack, services, apps, and experience. And as we do that, these improvements from one layer bubble up to the next and create a compounding effect, which is really the whole point of offering this unified approach. So that's the product.
So
Go ahead, Vinnie.
were you going to talk about pricing?
Yeah, so I can talk about pricing really quickly before we move into that. The pricing is now at, we have two different pricing options. There is an all employee pricing that is $37 per month when billed annually. And the stipulation is that all of the employees have to have a license for that. There is also then flexible user pricing that's at $90 per user a month when billed annually, and that can be purchased for any number of users that you'd like. So that is the pricing today. On the pricing, it has gone up slightly, like basically $7 per month. And the reason for that is because of just general inflationary trends in the global economy. It's our goal to offer the most valuable product that we possibly can.
This is the best price rise since 2017, right?
Yeah, this is something that happened recently. But again, it's something that's just a part of the global kind of economic trends that we're seeing, and our commitment to adding more apps, adding more value, offering these AI and analytics services, offering something like mobile app management. All of that is basically being added free of charge at every update. So we're very committed to that, and we still think we're offering a really great product with a lot of value. So that's hopefully addresses the pricing stuff. When we move away from the product and start looking at the ecosystem, this is another area that's very important. The ecosystem consists of our approach to technology developers and partners. As I've already indicated, third-party integration is something that's very important. So on the technology side, we make sure that we are able to offer really great and strong third-party integration that behaves similar to those first-party integrations. When it comes to being able to do that integration work, we try to make it easy as possible. As I mentioned before, we have Zoho Flow, which is our integration platform that's similar to Zapier. You can integrate hundreds of third-party services without having to write any code. Just choose the trigger that you want to see in an application, and then choose the action that you want to see in the other one, and then that is possible. We also offer over 1,000 marketplace solutions that allow customers to extend their Zoho One usage. One example of that extension is what they're able to do on the telephony and VoIP side of things. We have over 100 different telephony providers that we have brought into Zoho One, and we enable that integration through a single point of integration called our phone bridge. So you integrate, for example, your Ring Central or your Vonage or your Avaya or what have you, and then you just choose which application do you want this to appear in, how do you want that to work, and then it's done, and you don't have to think about it anymore, and just use the integration accordingly. On the developer side of things, it's very important that we have a strong developer ecosystem. We have 200,000 developers in the ecosystem, and they're able to integrate, extend, and create at all of these different layers. There are no-code tools, low-code tools, and pro-code tools available across these different areas, which is very important not only to small organizations who might not have all the technical capabilities and still need to be able to do things, but also large organizations that do have a lot of sophistication and technical expertise. They're able to knock out simple projects with those no-code tools, so they're able to be efficient there. But then for the big complicated stuff, those professional development tools are available for them to get in and do those much bigger projects that add a lot of value to the organization. On the partner side, we have technology partners, implementation partners, distribution partners. We also have system integration partners. Partners are very important to us, and we have thousands of them across the globe. And 2 of the 3 customers that we have seen here have used partners to help them reach the success that they have found. So that kind of wraps up the ecosystem. Just wanted to touch on that briefly. And finally, this is the closing point. We talk about a technology stack. We do that to try to show all of the areas that we are working that we think is essential to being able to offer the unified operating system. But the thing is that we think, we realize that customers don't necessarily care about the technology stack. They ultimately have problems, processes that they want to be better, things they're trying to do, and they just want things to work and be a really great experience a lot of the time. So for us, what's important is being able to delayer the stack, being able to confuse the boundaries of where one app starts and the next one begins, being able to confuse what is a service, what is an app, how does that factor into the overall experience. All of this shouldn't be things that users think about, or even the company really. It should just be able to do what they want it to do. And that's why we are continuing to unify the operating system, making Zoho One just one thing.